Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Listen to Your Parents podcast. I'm Matt here with my wife, Jen. How are you doing, honey?
Spiffy.
Spiffy! Fantastic. That's an upgrade from last week when you were...
Shitty.
No! Come on. Already going for that mature audiences only rating on the podcast this week.
Sure, whatever.
That's okay. That's okay. We have to keep it real here.
I don't even know what day it is.
It's Thursday. It's Listen to Your Parents podcast night.
I just do what you tell me to do. Whatever.
Really?
No.
Okay. Wow. All
She's
right.
lying.
So after that loving banter, let's bring in this week's guests. First of all, back once again are Dave and Tina from just outside of Pittsburgh. What's going on, guys?
It's going all right.
Yeah.
A little desolate out this way with the weird weather in the last week. That kind of made us a little stir crazy having to be stuffed inside after having a couple of 60-degree days. And then it snowed.
Yes, it did. Yeah, if you're lucky enough to live up here in Western Pennsylvania, we got varying amounts of a little bit of snow over the last week, which was unspring-like. And speaking of, maybe they got some snow. I'll be curious to find out how much. But our buddies Jay and Sara from Northwestern Pennsylvania are on with us for the very first time. And this is awesome because Jay and Davey and me, we go way back to like college way back. So this is quite the reunion. So how's it going, guys?
Doing well. And like you said, we got snow mixed with grass. And if you looked out, that's what the forecast was.
That's awesome.
I thought living in Edinburgh, I've seen everything.
Yeah.
The weather's definitely been not helpful during this whole thing. I think the theme, at least where we are, has been rain,
Wind.
more rain, maybe a day of sun that's reasonably nice enough to go outside, and then
70s.
And then 70s, and then just like
Snow.
more rain.
Sarah sent me a picture. She sent me a picture of not being happy with a fleece hat on, saying, "It is May. Why am I wearing a fleece hat? Why do I have to wear a fleece hat?"
It's true.
Why does my face freeze in May?
So before we go too far, we always make anyone who's coming on for the first time kind of give us the quick summary of their work-life situations. So Jay and Sarah, can you give us the quick on just what your situation is right now and kind of how life has changed for you guys since we went into lockdown mode weeks ago?
For me, it hasn't really changed all that much. I'm a stay-at-home mom to two toddlers, a 2-year-old, soon to be 3, and a 4-year-old. And so our day-to-day only changed a little bit. We just couldn't go to the library or the Y, but we mostly do the same thing day after day. And I mean, it was just more important now to do it, like to have a routine and those kinds of things. So in my world, it's kind of not a big change. So
it actually works better for the budget. We were going, wow, look at this. We haven't gone anywhere. We haven't gone in spring for food out places and travel. The car hasn't gone except to go get a repair because it sat still too long and started to rust the brakes and they needed repaired because of being settled. So my brother owns a garage. I called him. He's like, we're getting a lot of those kind of calls, dead batteries from sitting still and finally showing that they're almost done. Oh, Jen, I see a hand. Yeah.
That did happen to us recently. We can get deeper into that, but
we immediately went outside to go to the appointment and had to jumpstart the car or we were going to take the kids in. So, my normal job when the COVID thing happened, I work for the public school system as a maintenance employee, taking care of anything that needs fixed. So with that, the social distancing cut us down to a half day, but they did not cut our wages and such. So that was helpful for the household. But it did make, it was actually very helpful and enjoyable. I enjoyed the more isolation and time to get to the things. I was told to come into work 2 hours later and leave 2 hours earlier. So I got to sleep in, play with the kids in the morning. They got very used to that, having breakfast and rolling around and tumbling before going. to work. So that just changed back to normal hours on Monday. So the state says code yellow, just wear masks and social distance while being at work full time. So back to slightly disappointed, days feeling long, and trying to find things to do because the students aren't there to break things and neither are the employees. So fortunately the snow stopped and I could mow, but I have to say I did mow some snow 2 days ago. Well, I thought it was nice enough. You get into the shadow around the dugout on the baseball field and shoot snow out the side of the big mowing machine.
It's a different mindset in that part of Pennsylvania. Snow is not a absolute, deal breaker for any outdoor activity. It's just kind of like, is that like a little snow? Is this like, don't mow the grass snow? Well, I don't know,
Well, I did pull the mower out just to see how it would clear paths during the winter time as this sort of a lark. They're really powerful, huge. We've got these giant diesel lawnmowers that we ride on 0 turns. And so I did. I gave it a try to see if they would blow snow like as an alternative choice to plowing all the time. It's mediocre at best. It bongs.
Yeah. And I'll ask you more about life in the school district here in a second, but I have our man Mike Sorg on the 1s and 2s. He's got a nice video queued up of some of your ingenuity at work, Jay. Because I really hyped you up here in the promo video. I basically hyped you up as like Thomas Edison reborn. So we're gonna show the video of you with your homemade giant big wheel chasing your children around the basement.
All right.
So you want to tell us the story about this little home project you've got going here?
Yeah. So the kids, what we did is we went to a New Year's Eve party that was for children and children based, and it was awesome. We went to the party, mom, dad, and 2 kids, and it was for children. In the party, what they did is they changed all the clocks back 4 hours. Great idea. So all the kids did all the things you would do except go to bed at 8 instead of midnight. And at this party, they thought of everything. And part of what they did was we went to their basement, and they had a racetrack in their basement with pads on the infield and a swing. And my kids loved it. Teenagers loved it. They had all the tweens in piles on wagons and crashing and so much fun. We all just said, we've got to do this. And so as soon as we got home, we just decided that's what the basement now was going to be. It had been full from previous remodeling projects, and it was just a mash of stuff in the way and drywall pieces. So it all got cleared out, and they went away to go see Grandma, and I painted the floor into a racetrack. So now the kids want to go play downstairs. Chase it, Daddy. Chase it, Daddy. Chase it, Daddy. I don't want to run all the time. I know I run from my history of like exercise and whatever and cross country, but there is days Daddy just wants to sit. So in order to have fun and put the 2 together, I was like, I need a tricycle. Because you could grab your bicycle and go around, but then it's smaller space. You can't make all the turns. And so tricycle was the only solution. And I saw that they had them available to buy, but I had already acquired a mountain bike, half of a mountain bike from someone's junk. They're like, can I throw this away? And it was at work. And I was like, can I have that first? So I've got a Schwinn mountain bike with front suspension as the front of the tricycle. And then I had some extra metal around as I do, and some extra set of wheels that I bought at Harbor Freight for a different project that lasted a couple of years. That was the back wheels, got out the welder, the cutters, and then this. I had to re-engineer it though, because there's a lot of that's not worth even explaining, but I did have to cut the metal of the pedal arms down and shrink them by 1.5 inches, weld them back together. There was a lot more to it than there should have been. I saw that they had a better one on Walmart for $110, but I just might have been the best solution.
There's the personal pride of building it yourself. And
yes,
I don't think
absolutely.
you should sell yourself short because, obviously the theme of this episode is going to be overly ambitious home projects, which you make look easy, and the rest of us can only dream of actually pulling off. Because I'm in like the other day, or I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I hung 2 pictures in the bedroom, and I was like king of the castle. I'm standing on top of the bed, doing flexing. I'm like, did you see what I did? And you're building tricycles and chasing your kids around the basement. So.
Sara knows that it isn't that easy because you're like, hey, how long did that take? And she saw me go out a couple of nights in a row. And who knows, 2 a.m. is when I finished and came back into bed when she's sleeping. So
have you guys ever heard the formula for how long it's going to take Jay to do something?
This is her creation plus some of mine, but she's sort of finalized it.
I'm looking forward to it.
So I asked him, well, how long is this going to take? And he tells me, so that's Jay's estimate. So you multiply that by 2, then you add 20 minutes, and that's how long it's going to take.
Only 20 minutes?
Right.
Give or take.
20% sometimes.
Maybe it's 20%. If
yeah.
it's like a day-long project, that's like 3.5 days or 3 1/4 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So imagine what a home remodel does when Jay says, I'm going to remodel the house from the inside.
Yeah.
I tried to make it as open-ended. We're like February. I mean, March, April,
October.
and May, October.
Yeah, you guys have. This is gonna sound silly. You guys have, Jay. The way you described it to me last time we talked, it sounds like you lived a real life HGTV episode. Like you're describing this, and I'm having like visions of like the Property Brothers animation of like the walls coming in and out of your house.
It's true.
Yeah,
it was like that. Yes.
I really should have taken better pictures and documented it for, just because I think it would have been interesting. But when you have toddlers, like that whole process just gets lost because they just consume so much time. But
I have some.
He really did. I mean, it really was it's totally different than it was.
Yeah.
So I didn't touch one wall.
There's one wall you did not touch.
There's one wall I did not touch, and one secondary bathroom in our master bedroom. But the master bedroom changed.
Mm-hmm. It all, yeah.
Was the wall like a sacred wall? Was it a wall that you promised the previous owner that you were not going to touch? Was it?
No, it was conveniently
possibly sprinkled with holy water.
No, I think it was just that if we had actually tried to touch that wall, it would have like astronomically increased the budget because we talked about doing it, but
okay,
we didn't because it would have just completely blown it out of the water for us.
So how much of your life did this home remodel consume? Just out of curiosity, like when did this come to an end? If it is, did it come to an end? Is it over?
It's not done. Wait. Let me just rotate the camera.
Okay.
See, there's a blank door there. There's no door there in the background.
Okay.
In there is a full shower surround installed, a hole in the floor in wires. And if you read the wood on the floor, it shows where the outlets are inside the wall. The wiring is inside the wall for the overhead vanity, the wall outlets, the ceiling lights. Yeah, and I'm like, as Sara will say, I think that's a weekend job to do the whole bathroom. So that's
how long will it be, Sara?
2.5 weekends.
2.5 weekends. More like a month.
Plus 20 minutes.
Yeah, but then there's also, is it available? Are the kids busy? Is there someone to take care of the kids? Is she going to be there half the time or the whole time? So
this is so fun. I love it because
we're going to go take care of a small child meltdown, and I'll continue.
Oh, that's okay. We understand. So like how like I'm going to assume that being under a sort of lockdown for you was conducive to you completing some of these work projects around your house. And I'm sure there are a lot of other people who of varying degrees of ambition who are trying to tackle stuff too right now.
So as I should have been utilizing the time for that, I built another building during the remodel and it's outside, and I was turning it into a functional shop for constructing anything from cars to furniture. So I was wiring that with 100 amp service from my own power in my panel because I rewired my house and I added a generator panel to run my house off a generator. And then I added a line out to power the building. And then I wired the building for lights and for welders and for power saws and spread it all out. And there's going to be a couple of screens and a projector and a couple surround sound systems. I have a high powered amplifier for a stage area also in there. And the kayaks are now on a crank winch system, so they go up into the ceiling. So, I do some things when I should have been doing the trim.
No, I mean, the important thing is that you're still tackling home improvement projects. So
Well,
I mean, as long as you're attacking
And keeping
something,
your mind busy.
yeah.
Well, from you knowing me and what I've grandiose said as far as I'd like to do whatever, I'm trying to be less disappointing to myself by accomplishing all my overambitious dreams that come out but don't get done. So I'm trying to raise the ratio of that. So you had asked, did you want to run the video, or did it run, or whatever?
The tricycle?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the tricycle video ran.
Okay, that's fine.
But
because
I bet you Mike's going to run it again right now. So
yeah, oh, there I go, round the circle. So the reason I just wanted to not jump onto the next topic. So you had asked, is there something that you can do with your family, some small projects and such to entertain?
Right. Is there some sort of takeaway for the for the average family? Because you're above average when it comes to home improvement, Jay. So
it is a nonstop internal part of my personality. I have to be building something constantly, which I realize is not a drive for many people.
Yeah.
The takeaway could be that you can learn how to do a lot of these things. And yes, YouTube videos are essential. Unfortunately, I've seen things where they say if you watch a YouTube video, you feel satiated that you have kind of accomplished it, even though you've not learned how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's more to that you can actually learn. And if you have your mind focused that I need to learn how to do a light switch, you can learn how to do those things. Change out the light switches, put in a light fixture. You know what? It's you guys, Matt and Jen, that I believe one of my first serious wiring jobs was for, as far as a step of progress of understanding. You had me in your one house in the bathroom, I believe. You're like, how come this turns on with... And I hadn't really faced those kind of jobs before, but then, so I just logicked it and did it. You could look it up on how to do it, but.
Well, I think to your point, like, I think a lot of people who are, stuck at home right now are kind of like finding the courage to try new things and kind of expand their skill set a little bit, no matter what they're doing. So like for me, it's probably been like cooking, like in the kitchen. That's been kind of like my biggest growth during the lockdown, has just by the nature of me just being home and not eating out, that we're just, trying and cooking and, many successes. But, then every once in a while, the other day I screwed up rice. I couldn't cook rice right and I messed it up. So, but,
You burnt it.
I burned it. But I mean, like, that's like a 1 in 100 shot on me for me now. I mean, I'm like, I have a very high success rate on rice now. And I'm building.
It is the time to learn.
Yeah, it is the time to just like, build your confidence. And then, you talk about, if you're stumped on something, you go and you check YouTube or you Google it. I Googled something and I found a recipe for homemade oatmeal cream pies. I probably told the story like 13 times on this podcast so far, but it was like one of those things where I saw it and I was like, hey, I've got these ingredients. This seems scary. It's going to require the KitchenAid mixer. I don't bake at all, but you know what? I'm stuck in this house and I need something to do, and we're going to try to make this thing. And it worked. It could have gone either way, but on that day it turned out. So I mean, I think the same thing goes for your home improvement idea. If you're thinking maybe it's time to, I don't know, hypothetically replace the baseboard in one of the bathrooms, if it's time to give it a shot. Yeah
Pretty good at
you can
things.
judge your own fear factor on things or look it up. I mean, if there's no electricity involved, then what's the harm by nailing something in and maybe it doesn't stay very good? Who cares? You could maybe try it again after. If it falls, try it again. Like, putting up the towel rack holders. A lot of people don't have success with towel rack holders. They put them on the wall. They make it about 9 months, and then the little tabs yank out of the drywall.
Mm-hmm.
And then your towel, you got that, you go and you set it on and it pulls out and you're like, I don't like that. I see torn drywall from the, it doesn't matter that you've gone and it's come out. Now you've learned that it doesn't work that way. Try something else to put it back up. Don't give up.
Yeah.
By the way, it's butterfly bolts. That's how the next step is.
That's what you're going for. So you just saved us the 3 or 4 false starts on hanging the towel. I hung the curtain rods like about a week or so ago, and now it's at least the 3rd or 4th attempt to keep the curtain rods in the wall. But like this time, I was like, no, you know what? This time we're doing it right. The screws and the little things, the anchor, the plastic thing to put in there, and the drill and the hole and everything, and you knock it in, you get it in there real tight, and it's been up there for a good like 7 or 8 days now, and I'm feeling pretty confident that it might just stay up there for like, I don't know, maybe another month or 2 or 3. You know, I'm feeling good about this one.
It's never coming down.
It's never coming down, she says. So yeah.
Well, the secret is to know what's inside the wall.
Yeah.
And to find your placement. Every window has a frame of wood that holds it in. So you get close enough to that edge, you're going to hit some good stuff, and you don't need those plastic anchors. You just need longer screws.
Yeah.
As long as they don't go to the other side of the wall, you're good.
Yeah. As long as you don't go see daylight on the other side when you drill your hole.
Right.
So,
just a fun fact, because we're on this, I've also done things at Dave and Tina's house and made a cat door for them as a project.
That thing was epic.
Just think of that. I loved that. I missed it.
It got so many compliments from people that came in. They're like, "That's a cat door, and it even has little doors that open back and forth, and it's got a little lock on it. Where does it go?"
It was marbleized, and it was
in the basement.
it was based on the Parthenon. To be fair, so what I did is I took a picture of the Parthenon and went with the dimensional aspects of the Parthenon, and made their cat door that way. It had lots of decorative inlay across the roof of it. It had, I did routed pillars with steps going up. It was a lot of fun. I have pictures.
There was an archway and everything. It was great.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was great.
Yeah, it was an amazing door.
That was the door.
It's like when you drop in I used the Parthenon as my inspiration for this cat. I was like, yeah, of course you did. Of course. It's like perfect.
Always an inspiration.
Fantastic.
I think when we sold the house, we got an extra 1,000 out of it because of that. They didn't even have pets.
I was going to open a business. Part of what I was going to do at the shop is I'm going to be releasing a line of those cat doors that are easy to install, where you just rough cut a hole and you had adhesive backed doors, and you just slide these 2 tubes together and sandwich the wall, and it's done. Which is a lot easier than the 5 hours I spent putting the little one custom building it into your wall day.
Well, I mean, you got to do it at levels. You got to have like the one size fits all cat door, and then you've got to have like the platinum cat door, and that's like.
Well, they're all platinum cat doors.
Yeah.
And I'll make it in platinum if you really want to. We can make them out of metal.
Yeah, exactly. When you get your custom operation going there.
That's right. I guess plywood versus I could be bejeweled for the stars. Come to my mansion and see my bedazzled cat door. Fluffy is beautiful and goes to its $500 manicures and has this, well, hopefully $1,000 door that they buy off of me for a cat.
Jay, for all the crazies out there that have watched Lion King or Tiger King, and they're gonna go out and buy a whole bunch of tigers. Now you can make a tiger-sized door.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh, you want your tiger? Now available in tiger size. All right.
Yes.
What were you gonna say, hon?
No, remember when we were in New Orleans and we did that tour of the cemeteries, and the cat that's in like a $500,000
Yes.
crypt?
Mausoleum.
Yeah. She was buried with her cat.
2 cats.
Oh.
Yeah.
They get their own side.
Yeah. Giant like
Were they?
Just to finish the story, like when you get like a giant crypt, it's like above ground in New Orleans, and you end up, you get it for yourself, but then like you're like, you know what, this is really big, so I'll let like the next generation, they can use it too, and like you end up with 5 or 6 people. No, this lady, no, she's like, this crypt is for me and my 2 damn cats. No one else is coming in here. Mine forever. It's fantastic. Okay, here's a picture
there's
of
the door.
cat door.
Oh, there it came into focus.
Lovely.
Look at this. Sorg, you getting
Yeah, it
this?
has.
Wait, I got Tina to
There's
hold it
two.
up for me. Hold it up again, Tina. I'm sorry.
Move it a little. It came into
Yeah,
focus.
hold it a little
It
bit.
was nice.
We were. It was perfect.
There it
for-
is.
Oh, here we
There's
go.
the tint.
Come
Yeah.
on.
It's got a little
Look at
latch
that
on it so
beauty.
you can lock the keys downstairs so they don't come up when you have company. But the job of that is to be at the top of your steps. So
Yeah.
what you do is you leave it open to let the cats go down and use the litter box in the basement without having to leave the basement door open, blocking traffic to the rest of the house. And you don't want it in the door. Oh, and there's a face popping through it.
Oh, Dave.
Yes. So
Otherwise, you would
it's-
think it's a human door because it's just
Yeah,
so,
a
so
wall
nice.
you can patch a wall, but you can't patch a door back up. So if the cat dies or you hate it or you whatever, you can patch the wall back up and nobody will know.
All right, let's keep moving on here. I feel like let's
I love
move on to
pets,
another.
but
But it's good to have that option just in case, you know.
for home
Because cats are
resale.
devious. Yeah.
Oh, sometimes people like, I don't want a house with pets. I never had any. You can make the door go away and pretend it's never existed.
Yeah. All right. All right. While we're circling the idea of yeah, overly ambitious home projects, you also mentioned the thing you've got going on outside that you and your kids have been working
Yes.
on. Well, tell us about that.
Yeah, so one project sprang several more projects, of course, which is how it works for me. So when you guys all came over, we do a thing called the Pentathlon hopefully every year, but maybe not this one. I was hosting that year. After that, I did changes to my house, and I had a porch that came with the house made by people who didn't know what they're doing. The porch had to go. So the porch went, and it was rickety. Cinder block walls were around our basement door. It was spider infested and no sun. It was nasty. Pulled that out. We had bought a tractor with a bucket, and I really overworked it and scooped the backside of the house open, the dirt, so that you could have a nice walkway up to the back door of the basement. And then from there, I had a lot of extra dirt left over. And in my forethought is our children, only one of them was around. And I decided I was going to move the extra dirt over to a corner of the yard that would have nice shade under the only couple trees that we have. And I started to spread it and make it into what would be a fun little area for a town. And then the weeds grew up and it wasn't settled yet. And the kids weren't interested in being down there. Well, it just so happens that this past couple weeks, 2 weeks of quarantine together, we decided to do a garden and needed some topsoil. I was like, that thing hasn't come to fruition. And that was one more of my ideas that maybe or maybe not come to fruition. So I looked at the dirt again, about to scoop it up, and decided, no, it's now all packed. The area looks great. I'm going to mow it. Hey, it is what I expected 3 years ago. It's ready. And so I got dirt someplace else. I didn't give up on this dream. 3 years. Tiny Town, my kids named it. So Tiny Town came into existence when I told the kids, and they're like, I want to go outside. And Daddy didn't want to push them on the swing one more time. So what we did is we went in and used power tools and scrap wood and made little buildings. And I let the kids use the power nailer, the air nailer. And, well, I was with them, of course, and I pulled it in place, and they pulled the trigger, and they were super excited.
Oh, don't mention that.
So
Come on.
So we made boxes from scrap wood, and then they were already white primed leftovers from doing the house trim. So they drew windows and doors, and they wanted a name on their building. And Elias made a hotel that was really tall, and he wanted me to draw all the floors and doors and then put his name on the top. So Elias's hotel. And then Clara always plays Clara's Cafe in our basement in a little play area. So she wanted Tiny Town. So they took the toy, we did that, and then they took them over and they're like, let's call it Tiny Town. And so now it's a thing. And they're like, oh, we can do projects and make more buildings and go play in Tiny Town. And the neighbor kids came over and they were chopping away and making roads with them, the older kid, and
And then we dug a lake the other day,
put a bucket in it.
made a lake and a beach. And that
Yep.
was fun. So,
So our project now is whenever you want to do something fun and simple and add to it, you get 2 2x4s, you like chop them into chunks, nail them together, paint them, and now you've got one more building in Tiny Town. You didn't have to go spend $1 for a Hot Wheels car or an accessory This is like you just make an accessory for Tiny Town with scrap, and they're just as excited as if they pulled out a brand new $5 new toy from the store. Yeah, so there you go. Anybody can have a Tiny Town if they got a patch of anything, concrete, glass, whatever. You just take scraps, take a permanent marker, make them look like buildings, and now, whoa, let's make another one. Sure. And then they can set them all up and play with their cars with it. So that's one of those hands-on projects for cheap that everyone can take away.
That's right. I love it. See, that's very. I mean, anyone can do that to varying degrees. So, I mean, search your basement, search your garage, find all your scrap wood, build yourself a tiny town for your kids.
I've told Jay a couple times we should start like a blog or something, and the title should be "Stuff I Do with Things I Find in My Basement."
Yes, because most of our stuff is that.
He randomly pulls stuff out of the basement. I'm like, hey, look at this. I'm like, okay. So it works. It saves us money too.
Swear the tricycle, I didn't pay $1 for the tricycle. It was just scrap parts, things I had around.
All right. Sorry, I had to fly by screaming at the TV. I was just staring at this object in the corner of our kitchen, and I'm reminded that our own son, who loves Halloween, has decided that the time to start preparing for Halloween is now. And he has started to pull like pieces of random objects out of nowhere. And he's like, I think I could turn this into I think I could turn these 3 hockey sticks into like a whatever, like a tent frame that I could hang a cauldron from. I think I can build this into a frame for a skeleton. And I'm like, oh, son, it's 6 months away. No, 5 months. It's too soon. But it's never too soon for him. So
Jay, you've inspired him.
Apparently,
well,
somehow you've inspired.
I have lots of good ideas for Halloween that cost nothing that are scary.
Yeah, well, he's
we
basically
can cover that
doing
closer
the same
to the
thing.
season.
He's creating stuff out of nothing too. He's spending no money. He's just repurposing objects around the house.
It is very good. That's where it starts.
Yeah,
I want Chase to start doing that.
Legos is actually where it starts.
Yeah, that's true too. We've got a pretty huge Lego collection, and it was dangerously close to taking over our dining room, which we were kind of turning into like the pseudo schoolroom. And so the Legos were taking over the schoolroom, and the learning area was turning into the Lego area. So we had to like gather up all the Legos and like create a space in the basement that they'll just like, shove them into a corner. But it's nice because now at least one of our kids, our youngest, who is more in tune with the Legos, he will actually go down to the basement and play with the Legos now. And typically, the basement was kind of like an area where they weren't going very often. So anytime you can create another option for the children to get away from the rest of the family, it's probably a pretty good move, especially these days.
With the new one, kids, the Yankoviches, what do they have as far as dealing with home with the new, Chase? What's that incorporate for you guys being home, dealing with the children?
Well, the schoolwork that the teachers are giving him, it's pretty much done within 2 hours. So after that, he tends to get on Fortnite. And he Fortnites it up with his buddy that he has from school. And then, he'll go outside. We'll tell him, you got to go outside and go do something, do exercise, go for a run, go for a walk, whatever. And he just goes down to the trampoline and jumps for 30 minutes. And then he comes back in, gets a snack, starts playing Fortnite again. So I've even joined the battle, but usually it's whenever Taylor goes to bed. And then I start playing with him, but I can't keep up with him. He's too into it. But I was like that as a kid too. However, back in the day, we didn't have pandemics to keep us inside where we wish we could be when we want to play video games.
You want me to stay inside all day?
And like play video games?
That's like the dream.
Even back then, we had tons of things. We were always in the woods, digging tunnels, digging forts, making all sorts of stuff. playing with fire.
See, that's where the construction and all the construction comes from that, because I was always making wood stick forts, and all that leads to home remodeling in, a much more expensive way, from free sticks to ones that are $5 over in aisle 35.
Right.
Hardware, lumber.
I think like the takeaway almost is that like you keep your you think your kids are this one way, and that if they're and that they're just gonna be that way, but you contain them for a prolonged period of time, say 2 months, and you finally see that like they get bored of the one or two things that they were constantly doing, and you start to see them branch out. So like, the one day like our oldest suddenly is like, I'm gonna start building stuff because I've seen and done all the things that I do around this house, and I've got to do something else. And they really do like it. They can't stay this way for, stay in that one lane forever. They eventually, kids are kids, and they have to, try new things and explore and try out new stuff. I mean, Mason's been outside, shooting basketball, which has not been his MO lately, but he gets out there and he wants to shoot hoops now. So it's just like they can only play Fortnite for so long, and they can only do, this thing for so long. Eventually they start to, crave something else.
Axe throwing.
Well, inflatable axe throwing. So yeah, that was definitely a thing that happened.
Oh, we have a plastic one that are 4-year-old wheels.
Yeah.
That's less that. Yeah.
It's painful.
It's been repoed a couple of times. You can't hit your sister with that.
No.
Yeah.
What are you? I'm just making up a song, waving an axe.
That's the same with the swords and inflatable weapons and all that other stuff. They're all on top of the fridge.
Yes.
And I think today we were just talking about impounding every wheeled form of transit that we have in our garage, like every bike, every scooter. They were going wild today. They were just like Noah's like out there on the scooter, and he's like going up to the corner, and you could just see him like making that turn. Like, I'm gone. I'm just going, see you later. And we're like, come back here now, or I am literally gonna like put like the giant yellow thing on the front of your scooter so the wheel doesn't turn anymore, and we're gonna lock this thing down. Because God knows where he'd end up if we just let him
kids
keep going. Yeah, the kids
boot.
boot. Yeah,
You get in the boot. Pay the ticket. Do the dishes, and you get the boot off your tricycle.
Exactly. You got to pay your fine to get it out of the scooter.
Clean mommy daddy's room.
Yeah.
Clean the bathroom, and you really made me mad. You go clean the basement and then come back.
We actually started the allowance thing with Chase this week, and he's kind of taken a liking to cleaning dishes. So I'm going to let him have that. But he's just like, I'm just saving up for a bundle in Fortnite. I'm like, well, the money continues, so you can get your bundle in Fortnite, but then you can have more money. Just put it away. But this is like once a week. It's probably like $7, $5, $7, and that's for doing dishes at dinner time and whenever we tell him to.
Yeah.
But I told him, I'm like, we're going to add to this at some point. It's not just dishes. At some point, it's going to be other things. Right. But like cleaning up after yourself is not considered a chore.
Yeah.
It's something you should do.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely something that's crossed my mind too, is like the idea of an allowance, because with just like the online shopping, ramping up because you're not going out. I mean, I get 3 types of packages. All right. 3 types of deliveries come to my house for me. They're either wrestling t-shirts, light bulbs, or parts to upgrade the laptop that I'm working on right now that I have yet to harness the courage to actually install, but it's coming, Jay. I'm inspired by you, and I'm going to put this thing into this thing, and I'm going to make it work. So
you should. I think you should be further ahead. So when we were in radio broadcast at college, the reason I learned how to build computers from scratch is because the radio station got a CD burner. It showed up in a box, and everybody's like looking around like, who's going to put it in? And I was just like, let's give it a try. There's instructions.
Yeah, exactly.
If not, I know some other people.
And that was before the Google and the YouTube. Like, we didn't even have that back then, Jay.
No. Just so.
Since you brought up the technical stuff, I wanted to ask you real quick about. I'm not saying this to be mean, but you're working in a rural school district.
Yes.
And whenever everything went into lockdown, they kind of had to bridge the technology gap out there for the kids. You would talk about that. I thought that was interesting when you mentioned it to me.
Yeah, what we did is we had no established online learning. Other school districts in our county, our alma mater that Dave and I went to, General McLean, had, and not just because one of our best buddies is in charge of the IT department there, and he's absolutely awesome at it. We had some catch up to do at ours, and we quickly did. And I was really surprised and proud of the solution they came up with. So we live in my school was in a very rural area. We only have about 120 people per class, per graduating class, and therefore put together where that's located. We're on the far outskirts of Erie. Internet connection is slim pickings to choose for a provider. So to overcome this, what the school did is got Verizon hotspots, because AT&T and Cricket and T-Mobile, none of those work out here. None. Like, you can walk outside of the school and you can get a bar or two with AT&T. And so Verizon's pretty much your choice. So they got Verizon hotspots for all the kids to go with laptops. And parents would come, give the name, and they would get a hotspot if needed, provided for their whole family to use. So they really conquered it and immediately got a portal set up and the kids into online instructions and really jumped. It went from nothing to jumping the whole chasm and getting it going. The one interesting thing is, along with learning to do that, and kids will always find something they're not supposed to do. So they would have Zoom online classes, and the teachers had to tell the students, you can't drive your car and be in Zoom for class. You can't be driving while you're attending class. This is illegal. I don't know
how old were these kids?
They're the high school.
Okay.
Sophomore, junior, seniors.
Okay.
Nice.
I just, in my head, there's like, this little like third grader in like the giant red car, it's like,
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
There's been lots of cats. People they bring their pets to classes. So that's a big thing. A lot of teachers someone will come in, and knowing my daughter, she's wearing, the other girls I'm sure are like this. They're wearing their princess outfits, like just like a collage of colors, and they're bringing their dog who's dressed up, and it's very distracting the rest of the class.
That's awesome. But yeah, like the technology thing is a huge deal. Down here in Pittsburgh, the public school district in the city basically had to admit that like everyone district is going to pass because they couldn't bridge the technology gap for everyone. And obviously there was tens of thousands of kids that need to be taught. Yeah, and not everyone has home internet and stuff. And it's like, it just a thing like this exposes all these gaps in the system that
and legally you can't provide the service if you can't equally provide the service. So when we first started, before there was hotspots for everybody, what we had was online guides for enrichment. So there was enrichment curriculum you could go on and do, and you could have enrichment meetings with teachers, but until everybody was given their own, you weren't allowed to be mandatory. So that was a thing.
That's good. I mean, do you hear my kid screaming in the background?
He's playing Fortnite.
He's playing Fortnite. He's just yelling at somebody. Yeah, okay, great. Sorg says we're getting all that. Great. He's been through the kitchen like 5 times apologizing and has not lowered the volume yet. Okay, but anyway, it's getting close. It's getting close to 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. So what we like to do before we wrap things up is we ask our guests to offer some words of wisdom or inspiration to anyone out there who might be struggling, or perhaps just give them a little boost or a pat on the back. Anything, any kernel, any nugget that you might have. So not too much pressure, but Jay, you go first.
Kernel of wisdom. I like to always have something new and go for it. You might not feel you have time, but work with your significant other and people can always make time for what they really are drawn and care about. I don't go to the gym, but I really like to build things and give things to my kids to play and work with. So I say just do it. Put the foot forward. I don't sleep enough, and that's the takeaway. I do that instead.
Sarah, you got anything?
I mean, I think I'll just piggyback off what Jay said, because in the time that we've been together, that's something I'm much more of a cautious person. And so that's his, I don't want to say like, I don't know, fearlessness, but he does. He just goes for it. He tries it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Whereas I'm like, well, let's think about this. What's the pros? What's the cons? Like, oh. And so, yeah, just try it. I think if anything, like this whole situation, it's crazy. And so if there's something you want to do it, try it. You don't know what tomorrow is. With the kids, that's what we do. We do one day and we make it what we can make it and try it again tomorrow.
blow that stimulus check and take a step.
Yeah, exactly. That's happened.
To provide for your community.
Yeah. Davey?
I don't know. I would say just, keep active. If there are days that I'm having a bad day, it's because I haven't gotten the workout in. But yeah, keep active. Try to stay healthy. Wear your mask when you go to the grocery store.
Yes,
but there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. It's gonna happen at some point. We don't know when, but until then, make each day different if you can. That's the only way you can stay out of this insanity and feeling, cooped up, is if you can, just make things different each day.
Awesome. Tina?
I don't know. Can you hear me through Dave's?
I do.
Okay. Mine, I think, would be, we all just need to realize everybody's going to have a bad day, or maybe a couple of bad days. It's unfortunate when we all have different bad days. It seems like there's a slew of them, but there's going to be a lot of good days, and we have to focus for those and just keep on going. We've already been through this for 8 weeks, I think.
This is the 9th
7 or 8.
episode of this podcast, so that's at least been 9 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's crazy.
It's good. It's very handy for me. It helps me keep track. It's like scratching a check mark on the wall for every day in prison. So keeping track.
His house is a prison.
His house is a prison.
One more.
One more. You're almost there. Honey, you got any words of wisdom?
Just be nice.
I couldn't agree more.
After today, just don't be a jerk. Just be nice.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand what's going on. Just be nice.
You can never go wrong with that.
Yeah, being nice is a good one. And I will mention, and I'll kind of circle back. I was kind of circling the same thought. Over the weekend, we took another trip to Ohio Powell State Park. You would not think that our city living children, would want to be outdoors, but they were doing the trail, they were climbing the rocks, they were doing slightly dangerous things near the stream. I mean, it was like, I would qualify it as a quote unquote adventure level outing. There was a snake in the water that scared the crap out of you.
Sure did.
Yep.
And Noah started throwing rocks at it.
Noah threw rocks at it. So it was a very positive experience. And I guess the point of this is, like, if you have kids like ours, like, it feels like they're just like complete homebodies. But like, honestly, the kids, they want to get out of the house. Deep down, they want to get out and do things and experience new things. Sometimes it's hard to believe that, when you're living with them 24/7, but they do.
I know those snakes are out there, but I still enjoyed myself.
Yes. And now you're never going back.
I'll probably go back.
You'll probably go back. Yeah. Once you have a proper weapon or sidearm to take with you to defend yourself.
Get the park rangers involved, and
you just take like a, I don't know, what's a small self-defense object that the park rangers wouldn't carry that you took with them? I don't know.
Katana blade.
Yeah, exactly. It's a katana blade. All right.
You can't take the stick, though. You always leave the stick behind. You don't take for nature, just pictures, and leave only footprints. Never mind.
Excellent. I'll try to remember that one too. All right. Jay and Sarah, thanks a lot for
Thank you.
for coming on. I'm so happy to bring you back in here. This is like a sort of reunion from our college radio days. This is really phenomenal to get the three of us together again. So it was awesome to have you two on. And Dave and Tina, thanks for coming on again. Appreciate you too. Always, honey.
Great seeing you guys.
Thanks for being you. I will try to get to that next thing, but in the meantime, enjoy the curtain ride. Come on, it's awesome.
Hey, when's our anniversary?
I don't know. It's like something calendar. A little over a week. Little over a week away. Can't wait. Could be great. We're gonna be married how many years? Good job. 16. All right, there you go.
I was there. I don't remember.
You were in it.
That was the whole point, is that nobody remembered. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Thank you very much, Mike Sorg, the ones and twos, very much. Listen to your parents. Follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out. Check out the old episodes. Stay strong. We'll see you next time.